Hey YouTube, wanted to make another video for the series. Uh, you'll notice that the background is different once again. So there's, was it a couple weeks ago? Must have been a tornado. There was a tornado. I don't know if it touched down or formed or whatever, but there was a tornado warning issued uh, for the area that I was staying in my rooftop tent, and it was ironic because the uh, that same day, excuse me, that same day I reached out. We were trying to get a hold of some family that was nearby. Just a shot in the dark, really, because I didn't know if they were still here. Some cousins of mine, and trying to find a semi-permanent place, right, for the rooftop tent and the Jeep, because the whole boondocking experience has changed. So I don't know if it was like a combination of COVID and the geographical area that I'm now in, trying to navigate, or what, but it's changed. So it was, I didn't have any problems at Planet Fitness to speak of. It was an interesting experience, learning experience, to figure out where you were not wanted, right? So mine isn't the typical situation. There's no stealth involved. Like, you can clearly see my rooftop tent, and I'm guessing, just by using my reasoning skills and some intelligence that I have, that given the homeless problem and the people on the streets and theft and break-ins and stuff like that, that's probably the reason why people don't even want to think about the idea of you staying on their property. So you've got the security trailers with the cameras on top in Home Depot and Winco, and probably some other places I don't know. And you've got the security who are combing the parking lots at night. Anyway, I say that to say this next. The background is different because I've been staying with a cousin of mine. That did work out, and we connected and have had a great reunion. And it's been 22 years since we've seen each other at a family reunion, and he didn't realize that it was me. And when he did realize it was me, and because he used to stop by and stay at my parents' house on his way through to college from Denver to Gonzaga University, and he'd stay with us. And so it's not like we were strangers or anything, but he was gracious enough to open his home to me and tell me that I could stay here as long as I wanted, which is, super helpful and appreciative. And so that's what it just wasn't. I could see the rooftop tent working for somebody who didn't have a back injury and was trying to navigate that with pain management and stuff. And the system around here for workers' compensation has not been helpful one bit. No part of it. No part of it. And so I was lucky that my cousin stepped in, and I told him what the what the deal was, and he uh, uh, it's a great help. So I don't know what I would have done without him because my family's not anywhere close to where I was at. So anyway, I've been here for a couple weeks, and we've been enjoying each other's company, and we both are love and appreciate music, and it's been great catching up. And uh, so back to why I've been making these videos, right? Uh, I did see the rooftop tent has gotten some bad. I think I said that on the last video. It's gotten some bad reviews, and I didn't really understand it, but I've only owned the one system, which is the Rough Country, and it was the only system that I could find through my research that was available to me for a soft top Jeep Wrangler of my year. So that's what I went with, and I there was one particular review that stood out for me. The guy was just tearing these apart because of the telescoping ladder, all the way from the telescoping ladder that was difficult and to whatever. And I didn't agree with anything he said. I had one kind of snafu that was my own fault, and because I was sitting in my Jeep as it was raining, and I was thinking, boy, I probably shouldn't be doing that. But anyway, to kind of remain incognito, I guess I would say, is I folded down the tent. I thought I would fold down the tent during the day and then just put it up at night, right after dark, and maybe that would help me with some stay in the area. And I did that, and the first day I did that, it rained, and I noticed like the water coming out of a weird spot on the platform or something like that, and I thought, boy, that's just kind of weird. And so the rooftop tent that I have is kind of different in the way that when it's fully erect, it actually looks like a tent. It doesn't look like a clam or anything. It actually looks like a tent. It's very well made. However, with the rain jacket on, or rain fly, whatever you call it, so that buckles on with the plastic snaps or the plastic buckles, and then the two windows on the sides, I guess, or the two sides, if you will, they have a cover on the outside that's part of the rain jacket. I hope I'm explaining this right. But the cover doesn't zip. It just has some toggles that go through, and it sits on top of the tent, and it just kind of it covers the window, but it's not closed, if that makes sense. When the flap is down and the toggles are attached, it's like it has two pleats on each side, so that I'm thinking it's for airflow. I don't know, but the essentially those were open areas for rain when it was folded closed. So when you fold it down and it's not erect, you have to have the cover on it, because what happened was I got flooded with water, and it took me 3 days, thank God for my cousin, to have some place to put the mattress and let it dry. Finally the rain came out, so we opened up the tent, opened up all the windows, and that took a whole day. It was still kind of wet, but it took a whole day basically to sun and air dry out. So that was my bad, right? But I haven't seen anything wrong with the telescoping ladder, the craftsmanship, I realize it's still new. So it'll be interesting to see how that story changes, if it does, given a whole season of use, 1 year, let's just say, because I got it still well at the end of winter, 2025. So that's when I'd look at it again and do another once over and see, how everything held together. But it seems well made. The mattress is definitely for maybe a weekend warrior, to go out camping, but it's not comfortable. It's not for extended stays. And I bought a tent pad, one of the kind of midline inflatables, and to put on top, and it didn't work those together. So I ended up going and finding a dense piece of foam. It helped, but again, you're talking about somebody who has a back injury and is living in their vehicle. So back to why the videos are. So the videos are to document and track the process if you were to be living in Oregon as a resident, hurt working on the job, and apply or open a claim for workman's compensation. So one of the other things that I'm finding now that I'm trying to work through is the financial part, right? So this system, along with recently learning about the other systems that are similar here in place, they don't help you until everything's gone, until you have no assets, till you're broke, till you're homeless, jobless, and have no money. But you have to have no assets, right, for it to help to kick in. Kind of the same with workman's comp. So as far as on a state level, you can't supplement your income because all your income has to be reported. You can't, well, in their words, any and all. You can't collect unemployment as a separate entity or a separate source without reporting it. So there's essentially what they're doing is they're keeping you at 1/3 of your pay at the job that you were at, and making sure that you don't earn any more money on top of that. Let's see what else is going on. So the pool of professionals that you have to choose from is a total joke. I gave this DO a benefit of the doubt starting the process with him, and it's been problematic all along, all the way from if you're just joining in now, starting November 9th is the day of the accident. November, I believe it was the 11th or 12th, is when I had my first medical appointment with somebody to get an overview scope of what's happening. It's been since that date that I've been chasing the pain management, trying to get help with, be it medicine or whatever, or therapy, and trying to communicate with these people through their communication line is a complete joke. They will not return my phone calls. They will not return my emails. They tell me that there's no, my voicemails. They tell me that there's no emails associated with this office, which I think they're lying. But what my point is that trying to get that initial prescription changed because it's not helping me, it's not working at all. Nobody will return my calls or my emails. So I've sent 3 in the last week, and so that's what's going on with that. The other thing that's going on is they take their sweet time with everything. So nothing's rushed. Nothing is, they take as much time as they need. It doesn't matter what you're going through. Doesn't matter how you're feeling. I had an appointment on the 4th. The 11th is the next time that he wanted to see me. There has been no approval. I had an MRI. There's been no approval for the physical therapy for the 2 months that he has scheduled out. There's been no communication from I can't even remember the name of the company. Whoever's doing the care management, Majoris, sorry. They don't communicate with me only when it's necessary, only when there's a document or something. Nobody has ever reached out to me about help. What do I need? Nothing. So I gave my cousin a kind of a timeline, if you will, of what this looked like to me. So you're someone who's worked their whole life. Me, I had my first full-time job when I was 16. Because I wanted to make some money. I wanted to have some things. And I knew that was the vehicle to get me there, right? So that's when I started. Throughout the years, living with different people, taking care of different people, whatever, I've had sometimes 2, even 3 jobs. Paid into the system that whole time. Never have been, I think I was on unemployment once for a short period because I was laid off. So I've never been in the system as far as needing assistance or food or whatever. So that kind of gives you an idea of my life versus some others. But now when you are hurt, and in my case it was something that wasn't in my control, I trusted somebody else and put my fate and everything else in their hands, and they let me down. You're in this position, and neither the state nor the country wants to help you. You stand to lose everything that you have, if you have anything at all. I can't imagine what it would be like for a 4-person family. You stand all that added pressure that it puts on the other person now to produce more because there's no help for you or your family. You stand to lose your home, your houses, whatever else you might have, any assets, any savings. That's the MO with what's going down over here in Oregon with the workers' compensation. So that's the position that I found myself looking at down the road into, and I'm trying to find still the best way to not be completely broke by the time that they figure out what's wrong with my back. Why even just the little activities are throwing me still in this tailspin of pain to try to manage every day. So something that doesn't make sense, but on the 11th we should have answers and be able to move forward, hopefully in some other areas and avenues. But the slow communication or the lack thereof has been on every front with everybody who's been associated with this claim that I've talked to. there has been a couple people who have not been associated with the claim and have not provided services who have lent me some information into why, well, their opinion why things aren't getting better and why they are the way they are, and especially with the communication or lack thereof. So the same reasons why I started this video series is the same reasons why I again spoke to my cousin this morning about how to get even more involved. Again, I feel like if it's one of those, if you're going to sit around and bitch and complain about it, you might as well get off your ass and do something, right? If you really want to help. And I really wanted to help with the videos, and that's why they're out there. And I hope they do help somebody, or at least provide them information to make an educated decision about whether they want to live here or not and get involved in all this. But how can I go even further? What steps do I need to take? Who do I need to talk to? Because I'm not afraid of the work. I'll put it in if it has a chance of helping somebody. And I don't mean me, anybody else. I'm already in the process. I already realize where I'm at and what, the potentials of what are going to happen. But like I said, like with the video series, if it'll help somebody, great, I'll sign up. I'm willing to do that. So I know that there, from a conversation I had just a couple weeks ago with my workers' comp attorney, he is part of a group that is they're trying to get the lawmakers one by one to change these laws that are not helping matters with the claimant in these claims, right? So somewhere along the line, somebody made the laws and made the outlines and the guidelines or whatever you want to call it so that it benefits the employer more than the employee. So if you don't see how that's wrong, there's something wrong with you, seriously, and you take another look at it. So the care is lacking for sure. The time, the urgency, I guess, if you will, is lacking. Why they decide to take and cut 2/3 of your pay right off of the bat is seriously lacking. That makes no sense to me whatsoever. Anyway, I'm hoping on the back end of this, there's something to be achieved that will bear some fruit, let's just say. And boy, I wish I had, I know in one of the videos I said that, so trying to call out my mistakes along the way so that somebody watching this isn't plagued by the same, right? So right now, it's March, I don't know, whatever. It's like the first part of March of 2025. The date's not that important, I don't think, but something happened to you today and you're just watching these videos, or something happened to you recently and you're just watching these videos, go make an appointment with a DO, a doctor of orthopedics, who is in network with in this pool of professionals that they pick from, or they have you to choose from, excuse me, for a workers' compensation claim. That's your first step. Well, I mean, technically, your first step is to notify your employer that you were hurt on the job. Don't do what I did and go to a lazy eye or something. One of my eyes looks weird. Don't go to a chiropractor, especially a chiropractor that's not in network, for your first visit to a medical professional. That's not my advice. Even if it was in network, that's not where I'd start. You're going to save yourself a lot of time going to a DO first. They're the ones who are going to say yes or no to everything. They're the ones who can get you, they can write a script. That's where you need to start. And they don't tell you that. Then I would make sure, if you haven't got it, that you request, or whatever you have to do to get your hands on the information that you need about how to navigate, handle, what to look out for with a workman's comp claim. Make sure you have that paperwork. Make sure that your work release, I believe that's the form that it's called, is being turned in so that you get paid, so that you don't get behind, right, on your bills and stuff. The other big thing that you have to decide is, if you're dealing with SAIF, SAIF, they are going to send you a form that gives you a choice. Inside of this choice, you have a certain amount of time to decide what you want to do. And I keep forgetting the third choice, but the first choice is, are you going to pursue, or are you now going to pursue, or in the future going to pursue, a lawsuit against a third party for compensation? Okay. The second choice is you can sign over all of your rights to do that to them and have their attorneys, or they'll decide if they want to have their attorneys go after the third party. And there's a third choice, and I'm sorry, I just can't remember that right now. But you're given three choices, and you're given a timeline to do those in. I would start thinking about that immediately, depending on what your situation is in the accident and what happened. And I would talk to somebody about that immediately. Your workers' compensation attorney cannot help you with that. Just heads up. And they won't talk to you about it. So the other thing is, don't try to call your claim adjuster. Don't answer any questions from them or from your work without talking to your attorney first. You can talk to Majoris, who is the healthcare manager. I haven't seen any benefit in that, just from my standpoint and my story. So that's kind of an updated kind of where I'm at right now. And there's some other, life stuff going on, but it's the same in everybody's life, right? So the other thing, too, quick update, was that because this is an Amazon DSP I was working for, or am working for, I keep saying that and here's the reason why. I've gotten 2 or 3 communications from them so it's labeled Amazon Team something, I can't remember. And initially, I was confused about where it was coming from, originating from, whether it was from the DSP or whether it was from Amazon, right? One was an offboarding. The last one was, or the time before last was an offboarding message. It's been 180 days since you've delivered a package. We're concluding that you don't work here anymore, blah, blah, blah. So I thought that was my pink slip. I thought I was being fired. Not true. There's been 3 of those communications to me, and they all have been kind of unclear about where they were generated from or if they were even real. So I just kept reaching out. How am I to know, right? Unless you ask. So I just kept reaching out to the person who hired me, who now won't talk to me for some reason and won't answer my questions. So I brought this to my workers' comp attorney, and I said, "Hey, I've been getting these. I'm not sure what they're about. They're confusing to me because it looks like they're letting me go." And like everything else, that was what, like a month ago. I asked, and now they're finally getting back to me. I think what the bottom line is that the workers' compensation people and claims are not important, or they're on the level of importance at the bottom rung. And I'm not saying that despite everything. I'm saying that that's what it appears to be like. That's how I've been treated. That's how this claim has been treated. Anyway, so back to my point. I finally heard yesterday from my attorney after asking him a month ago at least. And they said, "No, you're not fired. We're not going to let you go. When you're rehabilitated and you're ready to come back to work, we're holding a spot for you." So there was a bunch of communication there, or a bunch of miscommunication there that needed cleared up, but I couldn't get any answers from my employer because they wouldn't speak to me anymore. Her nor the HR department would talk to me. So that's been a development that's also confusing but interesting. I don't know what that's about. Nobody can figure it out. But your workers' compensation attorney cannot. It's illegal for them to call your employer. And it's illegal for them to talk. So I've had to do all this, or Majoris has had to step in and act as a mediator, if you will, to try to find out some basic communication, which I think is absolutely ridiculous. But like I said, that's why I'm making the videos, so you know what I went through. And the other thing, too, going back to the laws and the lawmakers, I think annually, it could be even more than that. Maybe it might be even when the House and Senate are in session. I don't know. You'd have to look at that more in detail, but the laws are always changing. So just be aware of that. Make sure that you're, and I don't know how you do this. Just make sure that your attorney is up on what they're supposed to be up on. Like I said, I'm sorry, I don't know how you would do that, but I guess maybe look into some Yelp reviews or some online reviews. Because for mine, I've asked him some questions that have to do with due process, so he should know the answer, and I've gotten, what is that? So, heads up, be aware there what you're getting yourself into. And the other thing too is something I learned yesterday, that the people who are handling, be it the medical side or otherwise, who are handling these claims and these people, the claimants, it goes out as a contract, right? And it gets bid on like that too. So the people who are doing all this work and are involved, that's how they're involved. It's important for you to know that and for you to remember that as you go through this process, because even that is rapidly changing, where we're having to not only be in contact but try to communicate with people who don't understand English and can't speak one word of it. So another thing that probably needs looked at, right? What else do I have to tell you? Oh, one other thing, you have to, if you do end up homeless, living in your car or something like that, like I was, I'll help save you some more time with. So one thing you're going to run into is when you renew your vehicle insurance, or like me, I have two policies, one for my motorcycle and one for my Jeep. Depending on your insurance provider, they'll have to have what they call a garage address. So it has to be, what that means, it has to be a physical address for a home that they're requesting for you to be able to have insurance and keep insurance, right? This was all news to me. I didn't know. So when I found, before I lost my apartment, I was talking to my insurance company, my insurance agent, like I do the other people who annually I ask, how can you help me? How can you give me a break on, how can you help me save some money, right? I've been a customer this long. I'm thinking about changing, but I'll stay if you can help me save some money, right? So anyway, that's what she tells me. It has to be a garage address, a physical address, or attached to a physical address. Here's how you get around that. Do not go to USPS for a P.O. box. Excuse me. One, it's a crap load of money. And if you're going to spend a crap load of money, you might as well go to UPS. Why? Because UPS, when you get a P.O. box with UPS, they'll sign for packages. You can look at their page, ups.com. They'll sign for packages. You can get things delivered, blah, 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 whatever. The other thing that you get with that is you get a physical address. So that's your way around the USPS, because with USPS, you do not get a physical address. It's a P.O. box, and that's all you get. When I was in Florida, and that was a problem for me for something, they told me just put down the address of the post office. That worked. I don't know if that's, transferable advice here in Oregon, but I learned this through my mistake and also from another YouTuber. So, again, you're going to need, for some of your stuff, you're going to need a physical address. So go to UPS, go to your UPS, find your closest UPS store that has P.O. boxes for sale. And that will also give you a physical address to be able to use for your car insurance and whatever else you might need a physical address for. So I think that pretty much wraps up what I was going to talk about for this video. It's still cold here, right? So it's only getting into the 50s and it's still getting in close to freeze, dropping down close to freezing at night. So keep watch on your neighbors, especially the older folks. If you see somebody who needs help, start with a smile, ask them what you can do. Say hi to somebody when you walk by them and you're in their space. Don't ignore people. You just might make some person's day. So keep smiling, my friends. Keep your back to the wind and your face in the sun, and enjoy your day. Until the next video, we'll talk to you later.